Okay, we are back at the desk with another episode of Off Trail with Luke and Chandler. I'm Luke.
I'm Chandler.
And this is Off Trail.
Mm-hmm.
So, this episode, we're going to dive into something here that fairly popular among the photography community, at least among a lot of our people.
Yeah.
And we're going to address the claim that Nikon sucks.
Yes.
You know, hot topic. You know, Nikon shooters don't like to hear it.
Yep.
And as Canon guys ourselves, you know, we partake in the festivities of making fun
Oh, we love it.
of Nikons.
Yeah.
You know, so much so that our Wi-Fi password here at the house, again, we can share this now because it's not going to matter, was Nikon sucks.
Capital N, capital S.
You know?
Yep.
If you wanted to get on, you got to admit it.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to address this because the truth is that it's not really true.
It's not. Yeah.
It's just not.
It's
and
not.
As much as it pains me as a Canon user to admit that, there's just really not much to it.
Yeah, it's just kind of a joke. So, there are reasons that people make fun of Nikon, but it's not like because they're bad quality cameras. You know?
When you get down to it, like Nikons, Canons, Sonys, realistically, any three of those, and there's obviously other brands too, but those are the three top dogs, I'd say.
Yeah.
Most widely used. When it gets down to it, you give me a camera, and I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get what I want out of any of them.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, like, you know, a lot of people get sucked into this like Nikon sucks thing, and
Yeah.
it's
Or
like,
just brand loyalty and whatnot.
yeah, and you know, brand loyalty is a thing. I get it, but it's
Yeah.
like, truthfully, there's nothing that really, you know, there's certain things a little bit, but like nothing that actually makes Nikon, you know, the dog of all three of those.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason you should avoid Nikon.
Yeah.
You know, if you're looking for a camera.
No, you absolutely shouldn't.
Now,
So-
like me, like I'm never going to recommend it because I use Canon
Mm-hmm.
and I've had a great experience with Canon and I have nothing but good things to say.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know the Nikon line whatsoever.
Yeah. Neither do I. Yeah.
So like, I'm never going to recommend it, but like I shouldn't stop you. If someone else tells you that Nikon's a good brand, you should go get it. Like, hey, by all means.
Yeah. There's a lot of professional photographers, you know, specifically landscape and wildlife photographers who are loyal to using Nikon. And there's a reason for that. You know, those guys have been shooting for a lot, you know, as long as I've been alive. And, you know, they've been using Nikon the whole time.
Yeah.
And-
you know, it's like, I remember seeing something too. It's like a stat that said like the vast majority and you know, like nearly all of them of like the top wildlife people, the top astrophotographers, they use Nikon.
Yeah.
So like, let's be real here. If they're using it, you can too.
Yeah, exactly. Realistically, you know, one of the reasons that Nikon is so popular amongst those types of photographers is because they're just really tough, solid cameras. If you take like a Canon and a Nikon, you know, besides if you take away Canon's RF glass, they're almost the same thing. You know, like they're very, very similar. You know, there's obviously there's features that differ between the two, but as far as like durability and you know the sharpness, the ability of you know you have to take stellar photos, it's all there. So you just don't get a 50 millimeter 1.2 lens.
Well, they might have one. Again,
I don't think they do.
like I
I think
said,
Canon's the only one that does.
Yeah, I just
So,
don't know. Like, I
yeah.
don't know what their lineup is like at all, you know? But it's
Yeah.
like, you know, like for the longest time, I've always thought that Canon had the reputation for having the best glass, the best lenses,
Yes.
you know? Just performance-wise. Sony has always been like, hey, if you're going to get into video, go Sony.
Yeah.
And like, I'd still say that.
Yeah.
Like myself, like, you know, I don't do videos, enough video to justify trying to get over into Sony. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But if you want to do video, Sony's the play.
It really is.
You
I
know?
mean, we use Sony's at work. You know, I shoot on we're filming on a Sony A7R III right now, and you know, I've never really been that much of a fan of the photo quality that not the photo quality. The photo quality is great, but it's, you know, there's a lot of things about the photo capabilities of Sony cameras that I They're just not, and obviously this is an R3 and it's not an A7R4 and even now the A7R5. There's a lot of cameras ahead of this one now. But I've never been totally impressed with the photo capabilities of the Sonys. But the video is amazing.
Yeah,
So,
video is top notch.
Yeah.
Like, by all means, if you're doing video, look into Sony.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to try and be like, hey, you need to get Canon.
Yeah,
Like, no.
exactly. And then like the Sonys are, and not to sit and just trash on Sonys, but the Sonys they're not weather sealed. And I've had instances where we're out in the cold and I'm using the A7R3 and it shuts down because it's too cold. And Canons, Nikons, they don't do that.
Yeah,
So-
I've never had an issue like that with my Canon.
Yeah.
And whether conditions getting wet and all that stuff, like I've never been worried.
No, me neither.
And I was just out with some people this last week, and they were worried because it started snowing on them, and they're like, "Oh, we shouldn't be out here." I'm like, "Oh, "You guys have Canons, like you're fine."
yeah.
Like,
I know. Yeah, I left
like
my.
all your stuff is weather sealed, so
Yeah, I was shooting down in Zion with Benji a couple months ago, and it was snowing, raining a bunch. I had my Canon just sitting out on a tripod, and I was all worried about making sure the Sony was hid and covered up and protected. The Canon is getting just soaked. It's just it's completely covered in rain. It's been through so many rainstorms with me, from storms in Candylands and taking it out through Oregon, and it's been through a ton, and it still runs like a champ.
Yeah.
The Sony I've never been able to have it handle that much.
yeah.
So-
It's one of those things that gives you comfort. That's another reason why I like Canon.
Yeah, and that is a reason why people like Nikon.
Yeah,
So-
and to each their own. Like,
Yeah.
like Nikons really are not that bad.
They're not.
Like,
yeah.
we'll still joke about them all the time.
Yeah.
We
Well-
have friends that shoot on Nikons,
Yeah,
and we always give them a hard time.
Mhm.
But it's all in jest.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Well, maybe we talk a little bit about why some of these jokes exist. Because the camera quality is great.
Yeah.
Cameras are awesome. But why do people still kind of hate on Nikon a little bit?
Yeah.
Why
so,
does the joke exist?
so one thing that, I guess I actually don't know, like, truthfully, like how much this is actually the case, but because I don't do research into it. This is not something that I'll dive into.
Mhm.
But like, it just seems like for whatever reason, Nikon, when it comes to like innovation,
Mhm.
is always behind Canon and Sony.
Yeah.
Like they just are. Not again. They have a lot of the features you want,
Mhm.
but they're just like the last ones to come out with it, maybe.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, they're just kind of behind the game, and just happens to be that the other ones have it first, and I'm going to go to them.
Mhm.
It's like that's one thing, And I also heard like a rumor, and again, I can't confirm that this is true, but like they kind of botched their launch of the release of one of their big camera, like their flagship bodies,
I remember this.
like right before the Olympics or something.
Yeah.
Like, it was a couple of years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't see that happening with Canon and Sony.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? It's just all these things just add up, and it's like, well, I guess I'm just gonna go to Canon.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of does come down to, Canon and Sony just feel cool and hip, and they feel like, they're doing all the cool things right now, and Nikon's just they're really not. And that doesn't mean that they're bad. They just kind of take their time with things, and their goal, I guess, really isn't to be as innovative as Canon and Sony is, but that's fine. So
Yeah, and I think like Sony's been mirrorless for a long time.
yeah.
Canon has now really like went hard into the mirrorless line.
Yeah, last 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, and Nikon has their stuff too, but I also heard that like Nikon was building up their mirrorless line before Canon was, and then there was
Interesting.
I think it was like maybe the issues with like whatever, like a tsunami or floods out in where their factories were,
Mhm.
and that actually like stopped production.
Oh, interesting.
And so they got way behind in all that stuff, and then they just never got around to really getting it to the point until Canon already beat them to it again.
Yeah.
And like that again, it's just one of those things that like not their fault, but like it just happened.
Yeah.
And now they just have this perception that they're just never the first ones, the best ones to be doing all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, there's nothing really to it. Like it doesn't matter. And it gets back to this whole argument. It's like gear to a point just doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what gear you have, unless you're trying to get very specific types of things. Where
Mhm.
again, like me with my portraits, I need shallower depth of field.
Yeah.
And like if you're getting those kind of looks, you got to get the right equipment for it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like you give me any camera body, and, maybe a lens of my choice, I'm going to do fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to notice a difference. Like, I laugh when I see a lot of comparison videos and they talk about like very small, minute differences between cameras, lenses, what have you. And it's like, guys, no one's ever going to notice that.
Yeah.
It's like, so what if it's, just a hair sharper edge to edge
Yeah.
than this other lens or something?
Exactly. Yeah.
You're never going to notice it.
Yeah. And if you're a good photographer who knows their way around equipment, you'll make it work.
Yeah. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like the whole argument. It's like, you should really get to learn like how to use your gear that you have right now.
Mm-hmm. Like
master it.
Yeah.
And then if you ever get to the point where it's like, okay, now I feel limited to some extent, now go upgrade.
Yeah.
That's why you say, hey, learn on your phone to start and then go get a camera somewhere.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be the big fancy one. Like, like good example too, even though I'm a Canon guy, I have a hard time recommending the R5 to people.
Yeah. Because
it's just so big, it's pricey, and it's just got a bunch of specs that realistically no one needs.
No one needs, unless you're doing it more professionally. Yeah.
But even then, like, like I was talking to some portrait people, and it's like, one of them was like, I think I want to get the R5. I'm like, yeah, but like, do you need 45 megapixels?
Yeah. Do you need 8K video?
Like, if you're a good enough photographer, chances are you're getting your crops right in camera, or at least very close.
Yeah.
So having 45 megapixels like doesn't really matter.
Yeah, unless you're blowing it up.
Yeah, like
really
instead
big.
go get, again, I'm talking Canon here, but like go get like an R6 or like the R instead, and maybe get a lens with it.
Yeah.
Instead of putting all of that money into just the body.
That's the thing. Like you shoot on the R.
Yeah.
And it's funny actually with the R because a lot of people kind of give the R a lot of crap. I don't really know why. Like
come talk to me.
It's a really good camera. Like I don't understand like why
it's the
people...
5D Mark IV.
Yeah.
In a mirrorless version.
Mirrorless version.
And no one talked crap at the 5D Mark IV.
No.
5D Mark IV is still one of the best portrait cameras you could get.
Yeah, exactly. You're working with, what is it, 33 megapixels?
Like, I think it's like 30. Yeah, I think maybe 33.
So you have a really good, megapixel range.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room to do stuff with, really, really sharp. It works with all your RF lenses. So you can use the 51.2, which is a great portrait lens. So, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So,
it's like there's just no need to like buy the big expensive camera.
No.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like a slight branding mistake with the R5. Like people think it's like the equivalent of the 5D, but like it's not.
Yeah.
It's like bigger and badder.
Yeah.
And like, people coming up to that, they think like, oh, I need that one. It's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Like you just got to know what you need.
Yep.
And if a Nikon is what you need, then get a Nikon.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm going to make fun of you.
Yeah.
But like,
it's just because it's the running
it's
joke.
Just because, we're likely friends.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to give you a hard time.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yep.
It has nothing to do with the quality or performance of Nikon at all.
Exactly. So
some
of our favorite photographers shoot on Nikon. I think Forrest actually shoots on Nikon. Forrest Bartol.
Yes, he does.
He shoots on Nikon.
I do remember making fun of him one time for
Yeah.
it. That's true.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Forrest Bartol. I mean, go check out his work. He shoots on a Nikon, so everyone who rips on Nikon can go suck it.
Yeah.
Because he's the best photographer that I feel like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, every single post he makes is quite literally better than anything I've ever posted.
I don't know where he's getting these photos from.
No, I mean,
because sometimes like he posts one every single day, and every single one is a unique photo from all these different places. And like today, he posted a carousel photo that was several astro photos.
I literally commented. I was like, dude, I don't get it. Every single one of these is better than anything I've ever posted.
Yeah.
And he shoots on a Nikon.
Yep.
So it obviously doesn't matter.
Yep.
It just doesn't.
If you're a good photographer, you'll make it work.
Yeah.
So.
But again, it's
not that you need to make it work with a Nikon, but
no. But it's like, again, it's not going to stop me from making fun of you.
Yep.
You just got to deal with it.
Yep.
It comes with the territory.
Nikon still sucks.
Yeah.
Even though they don't, they do.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a Nikon shooter, don't think too much of it.
Yeah.
Just roll with the punches.
It's just jokes.
Yeah. So. Just roll with the punches because they're going to keep coming.
Yep.
So, well, that's all we had for today. A little quick episode. Just kind of trying to ease the waters there a little bit, not ruffle any feathers.
Yeah.
But But yeah, so if you're listening to this on audio only, you can find all of our stuff on all major podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe to our channels there. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we got a lot of stuff that comes out. You don't want to miss it. We got a lot of different variation of stuff. We talk about a lot of different things. So a lot of good stuff you can see.
Yeah.
And if you got a Nikon out there, I want you to comment, say Nikon does not suck.
Yep.
Let's get everyone who shoots Nikon to get on this video and make sure everyone knows that their work doesn't suck.
Yep.
So, all right, we're going to leave you there. Nikon does not suck.
Does not.
Does not. And we're out.
Okay, bye.
Bye.